How did the 712 portfolio fare against our Wellington fund? Ooh, it's going to be fun. So remember, I did tons of videos. And I'll just show you here real quick on the various mutual funds that are out there going back 12 years. I don't know if y'all can see these or not. I guess you can't. You can't see all the links. I don't know how to make this bigger. There we go. And so you can see Vanguard Inflation Protected. We got Vanguard Ginnie Mae, Total Stock Index, VA. I can't remember half these things. All these different funds down here. USAGX, PI, I mean, again, American funds, Fidelity, Vanguard Wellington, Vanguard Wellesley, just tons and tons and tons of funds that we've done thorough analysis on. And by far and away, Wellington came out our best. All right, so that was fun. Now the question is, I've always wanted to do this for a while. I just it finally got get fired up on this. But the 712 portfolio, and I did a video on this last night about Craig Israelson's 712 portfolio. Let's take a look at Craig real quick and see where he's at now. PhD, executive in residence in the financial planning program at Utah Valley University. Holds a PhD, BS in agribusiness. Taught at Missouri Columbia. Missouri Columbia, I think, is where Randy Gardner was a law school professor. A huge fan of Randy Gardner's work, actually, for law. But I think he's now in Texas. Anyway, so University of Missouri Columbia, interesting. I think, no, it was University of Missouri Kansas City. That's where Randy Gardner's from. Okay, BYU. All right, so he's been writing for Financial Plan. Horse's Mouth, yeah, he's been writing for these brags for a long, 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 long time. And again, I've been following this guy for a long time. So that's old Craig. So he had introduced a 712 portfolio. I think my first article on him that I saw on him was, I mean, geez Louise, a long time ago, like back in 2003 or 4, something like that. And it's always piqued my curiosity. All right, so now what I've done, I said, let's compare the 712 versus the Wellington. And now 712, we go back to 1999. Now, again, this is somewhat back testing. All right, this isn't real life because there was no 712 back then, where there was a Wellington portfolio. All right, so I almost hate to. I'm not the biggest fan of backtesting because when backtesting, you can make anything look like gold. You know what I'm saying? But this one, for some reason, I feel okay backtesting a 712 portfolio. We're using Craig's numbers. I mean, this is what he puts to the SEC, so he's not pulling out that of the air. But the facts are there wasn't anything like this, all right. And now there was a Wellington, so we're comparing back testing models versus real live numbers, and that always has a concern of mine for sure. But it's still something of interest, and I still like it because I find it easy to follow, easy to understand. You have 12 buckets of money. Each bucket gets 8.33%. Once a year, you rebalance them. That's it, done and done. The problem here, of course, is are you really going to do the rebalancing? I mean, making a trade is a pain in the butt. It's not really a pain in the butt, but just actually sitting down in front of the stupid computer and executing transactions is not a fun thing. It's a pain, and you're always thinking, well, what if I wait? What if I do this? So you got to find a way to put this on an autopilot, and you can dive into Craig's work a little bit to show how you can do that for sure, because there are firms that will do that for you. The nice thing about Wellington, frankly, is they do it. You just say, here you go, Wellington, and you take care of it. All right, so let's look at the numbers, all right? So basically what I've done is I've taken Craig's stuff off his spreadsheet right here, copied and pasted it. He goes back to 1999 to 2018. I put it on my thing right here. I'm just using a passive 712 ETF. Going back to 1999. All right, so what you can see from 1999 to 2018, that's 20 years. Sweet, that's perfect, 20 years. I like it. So we got 16.82 in 1999, 2005. You can see all that. And actually what Craig has done, he's put in red to make it down years, which is pretty nice. So we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down years out of 20. And that would give us a 35% of the time we had down years. So I'm just curious on Wellington. And this is Wellington. All right, so we got Wellington 1, 2, 3. So Wellington had 10% of the time did have 15% of the time had down years. All right, so twice as many down years with Craig's portfolio than Wellington. All right, so now what we're doing is we're taking $100,000 in 1999. All right, we're taking 5% a year off the portfolio, and we're doing it at the end of the year. All right, so we're taking. Bear with me just a second. We're taking 116. I just want to make sure my numbers are matching that I'm doing at the end of the year or beginning. I can't remember. We're doing at the end of the year. Okay, so we're taking 100,000 to start the year with in 1999. We're just putting in this portfolio. We're getting whatever return it is, and at the end of the year, we're taking our 5% off the end of year return. All right, now we're subtracting the end of the year portfolio value minus the 5% distribution amount, and we're beginning this next cycle. All right, so in this case, we're taking, we got 5,841 the first year, 5,850 the second. We had a down year in 2001 and a down year in 2002. So our portfolio distributions went from 5,800 to 5,100 there. The following year, we had a good year, so it went to 6,204. And you can see here, we went as high as 8,577 in 2007 right there. Then we got killed in 2008. We went down 25%, so we lost a quarter of our distribution amount, but we're still well above what we started with, which is $5,000. Actually, our first year distribution was $5,800. And so we never got back to that amount, 8,500, but we got 6,000, 7,000, 7,000, 7,000, 7,000, 8,000. 7,000, 7,000, 7,500, right about 8,000. So we've maintained about 7 to 7,500. I'd probably say about 7,500 for the last 10 years. So not so bad. So we were able to take out a total of $141,000. Let me write this down. 104. So we've had five? We had 6 down years of 30. All right, of 20. Excuse me. We took 141,000 total in distributions, and we're left with 135 portfolio value. All right, so we had 20 years of distributions on $141,000. We averaged 7,050 in distributions. All right, we have 135 left in our portfolio value. So what we do is we take our trusty old calculator. Well, that's actually, that's with distributions there. All right, so we have 135,000 left. Now, if we didn't take any distributions, we had 116. We had 100,000 we start with, and we went all the way up to, we hit 400. We went from 258 to 193, but then we hit 400 here, so we're down to 377 with no distributions. I'm just writing this down so I can kind of highlight it. No distros. All right, so 377. So what we do is we take our trusty calculator. We say, let's make sure we got, all right, cool. $100,000 is our present value. No payment. We got 20 years. We got 377, 335. Yeah, 377, 335. Future value. Compute interest. We got 377. 335. So we've averaged 6.8. Yeah, right there, 6.8% a year. Cool. All right, so let me just write this down here real quick. So in this case, we got 6 down years. Our worst down year was 25.16. Right. And then our best up year was 26.95. All right. All right. So cool. Good. I like that. So for the Israelson portfolio, we averaged 6.8% a year with no distributions. Our $100,000 almost quadrupled in 20 years. Went to $377,000. Actually, let me just type this in so I don't forget it. So we got 6 down years. 141K distros, 135 ending value, 377 ending value, no distros, 6.8% rate of return, no distros, minus 25.6, 0.16 worst, and 26.95 best. All right, cool. All right, makes sense. So now let's go over to the Wellington fund and see what we got here. Let me bring this up just a tad. I got to see my thing here. There we go. All right, cool. All right, so let's go over to the Wellington fund. All right, so here we had 3 down years. This is Wellington Fund, going back to 1999. 1, 2, yeah, 3 down years. Okay, so 3 down years. Now this is before taxes too, and I got no idea what the tax ramifications are on the Craig Israelson portfolio. I just don't know. So we're going to assume it's an IRA. All right, so we have 3 down years. We're able to take $124,000 of distributions with an ending value of 142. All right. Let's see. Our worst year was 22%. Was our worst. Our best year was 20.75. Yep, 20.75. So definitely a little bit less volatile, which would make sense actually because it's doesn't have any international stuff. All right, and then without distributions, we ended our portfolio with 397. All right, cool. So going back to this right here, we have 3 down years. We had 124,000 of distributions, which equals 124 divided by 20, 6,200. So we were able to take significantly more in income from the Craig Israelson one. We had 77,000. We had 141 divided by 20, 7,050 minus was 7,050 minus we got here 124 divided by 20. 6,200. So 7,050 minus 6,200 divided by 6,200. We were able to get 14% more in income from the Craig Israelson portfolio, but we also sacrificed a little bit less on the ending portfolio value on both. So we had 142,000 left over with the distribution structure, whereas we only had 135,000 left over the non-distribution structure. And here we had 397,000 left in the portfolio after those 20 years, which means we had $100,000 as our present value, 0 payment, 20 years, 397 is our future value. We averaged 7.13%. All right. And then our worst year was minus 22%, and our best year is 20.75. I mean, either way, it's hard to beat the numbers here, and for both of these funds. There's 2 things going on here. Is my concern about the Wellington is that Wellington has no international stuff. It's just American stocks and bonds. And when I say concern, it just is less diversified. And so because of that, you're missing out potentially on, some of these emerging markets just go through the roof. And international stuff and international bonds. So if you're big on the U.S., which I am, Wellington's way to go. That's just all there is to it. But it is less diversified. There's no getting around. There's no gold. There's no commodities. There's no real estate investment trust necessarily. I mean, the portfolio manager might have some of that in there, but there's not anything specifically. But of the 2, I'd still go to Wellington. It's just easier to manage. You just put your money in and let it roll. I mean, but man, this 712 portfolio, actually, let's see what it looked like after. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's see what it looked like up until 2007. So in 2007, it was at a 171 and 258. 171 and 258. All right. And you were able to take 85.77 off that year. So after the first, basically was at 10 years before the chaos in 2008, and 177. Yeah. In 2007, the Wellington was up 122. Okay. 132. Excuse me, 132. 1 second. Yeah, that's right. 132 and 199. Ooh. Interesting. And you were taking 6,600 off. All right, so when the markets did relatively poorly, all right, so now now let's go after 2008. The Wellington was at, let's go back to the Craig. In 2008, we were at 121, 193, and $6,098. The Wellington, though, was at 97, $4,800, and one was at 155. So the first 10 years, this portfolio smoked that's my only concern here. This portfolio smoked the Wellington. And the reason for that is because of the gold in there and it's commodities and things of that nature, which the diversification made it great. All right, so let's go from 2009 forward. So in 2009, Craig's portfolio, we went from at the end of 2008, 193 to where we are today at 377. All right, so let's do this. That's 10 years, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that was 10 though, because that's the end. So the end, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, cool. Time check. All right, so we went from 193 is our present value to 377 is our future value. 10 years. We averaged 6.92 in those 10 years. All right, let's just double check that. So if you took 100,000 as our present value, no payment, got 6.92 interest rate for 10 years. No, that's not right. Hold on just a second. We got 193 as our present value. 193 is our present value. We got 6.92% is our interest rate, 10 years and zero payment. Yeah, okay, good. So we got 6.92 is our rate of return. Yeah, this is about yeah, that's right, right on. Okay. All right. So now, how about here on Wellington over the last 10 years? So Wellington started at 155, and it ended at 397. Oops, 155. That's 9.86. So the last 10 years, Wellington smoked us for sure, because that's the S&P 500. I don't know, man. The contrarian in me says because the underwhelming aspect of the gold and the real estate and the commodity, I don't know about real estate so much, but commodities, this might be more attractive to the Craig Israelson portfolio going forward, simply because the underwhelming performance over the last decade of international, of gold, of commodities, where what has carried the Wellington over the last 10 years is U.S. stocks. I mean, no other way around that. And bonds did fine too. But the U.S. was a dominant return over the last 10. Yeah, that's a challenge, man. That's a challenge. I don't know. For 20 years, the Wellington proved better. For the first 10 of those, it did not. For the latter part of it, it did. The first 10, the Wellington looked like a dog relative to the 712. And that's what the beginning of my peaking of my interest, actually. The last 10, Wellington's done incredibly well relative to it. I don't know what to make of that. That sounds to me like the opportunity lay in the real estate or the commodities, the foreign stuff, more so than just the U.S. stocks. But see, this is what we've been saying for years. Like Med Faber, all the analysts are saying, look, the U.S. stock market has outperformed, and thus the momentum is with them in terms of momentum play. But at some point, those momentum plays stop, and when they stop, the things that have done unwell, if you will, or lackluster, usually take the leadership. And I don't know, man. That's tough. Which is why diversification always means having to say you're sorry. But just think about it. If you were in Wellington in 2008, all right, and you're down to 155, and you're only making $4,890, and you're in a diversified portfolio in 2008, and you're at 193, but you're still pulling in $6,000. I mean, you're just happier here. Now, I haven't looked at after tax or anything, but so that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't know. I guess my heart says go with this, simply because the underperformance leads to outperformance in the future. We just know this. That's the whole reason for value stocks. But I don't know that to be true. I don't know. So it's a challenge, but it's interesting nonetheless. Either way, it gave Wellington a fight for his money, that's for sure, and nothing else did. I mean, Wellington by far and away dominated the rest of the field for the funds I looked at, and Craig Israelson's held his own. Anyway, put a link in the show notes to the portfolio. Look, you got to make your own investment decisions. I can't say it, but I find it interesting. All right, we'll see you next time.